At the beginning of each calendar year, I've always been asked to present a report on the call response by our police department to noise complaints throughout the community. This was at the calling of a change in our ordinance back in 2008, when the council made a decision at that point to give police officers the right and empowerment to write citations for noise complaints instead of requiring a citizen to provide a signature and appear in court. Based on that, I have a short report to present to you for last year. The three questions that were asked in the report is: how many calls did we receive through the calendar year? What police action as far as enforcement, and what the outcome of that enforcement was. So you can see back for 2015, we responded to 493 noise complaints. In those complaints, we issued 2 citations, and both citations were challenged in court with a finding of guilty on both, with a fine of $255. Going back over the summary over the last 6 years, you can see that when we changed our ordinance, we were close in the 900 range when the ordinance allowed officers to start responding without the need of citizen involvement. You can see a slow decline over the last 6 years, and we are at our lowest at this point, at this time, to include both calls and enforcement actions. And based on this, I'm open to any questions you may have.
Well, Chief, one of the things that I always like looking at this every year, because in 2008, when this became, when we put this ordinance in place, I was on city council as well as John and a number of others, but I remember when we had our public hearings and things on this, a little bit of an outcry about how problematic that would be. And these numbers right here tell us exactly what's happened. They've gone down, and the reason they've gone down is because when a police officer goes somewhere and tells somebody to behave themselves, they do it. And before, we had to go through this 24-hour drill or whatever it was. I can't remember exactly how it was. So this is working for us by seeing these statistics, and I'm pretty tickled about that. Walter, you had...
Yes, Chief, I didn't warn you I was going to ask this because I just thought of it. Do you know the circumstances of the 2 citations out of 493 contacts?
Of the 2 citations, I believe we had responded the same location to the same person a total of 3 times before the citation was issued.
And that's within a 24-hour period, or is that how that works?
Mostly over what we look at as a 2 to 3 week period.
Okay.
Multiple
problems, non-responsive.
Non-responsive and I guess an indifference attitude to the ordinance in their neighborhood.
Do you know if there's been any problem with those addresses since?
No, sir, not at this point, but we're just starting a new year, so we'll keep an eye on it.
Okay, thank you.
Other comment, Dan?
Chief, I could probably answer it for you, but what's our busiest month?
Our busiest month, usually September, when the kids get back, or I should say the students.
Young adults.
Well, the weather's nice, and they got a lot of money in, so it's into the summer for them. So, okay, other comments for the chief?
No. Good job.
Well, thank you very much, Chief
Thank you,
Duke.
Chief.
We appreciate that. Annual report.